Welcome to part 2 of taking you from a newbie all the way to a professional in Home Assistant. In the last video, we talked about how you can basically install Home Assistant on any system. Today's video, we'll be going a lot more into detail on things that you can do to go through the onboarding process correctly for Home Assistant. In the last video, I also failed to show you some of the things you can do with Home Assistant at the end of the day, and so I will show you a simple thing on my dashboard here. So on my phone, I currently have my home dashboard, which is what it looks like right now. And let's say if I wanted to turn the lights behind me off without being in this room, just going on my dashboard and a single tap, I have all the lights in this room turned off. And guess what? You can control almost anything and everything around your house. So if you're interested in the onboarding process, let's jump on the computer and get started. To begin with, we will need to find the IP address for your Home Assistant. Personally, mine, I'm going with the Proximus route just for to show you guys. But I can see here that my IP address is 192.168.1.85. If you don't know how to find that, you first have to look on it on your router. So when you log into your router and you see the IP assignment, you will probably find that. Now, we also know the default port for Home Assistant is 8123. So you're going to go to that with those two information. You go to 192.168.1.85. and then the default port is 8123, and now we are in Home Assistant. I'm gonna assume that you don't have any sort of Home Assistant and you are a brand new beginner to Home Assistant, so go ahead and create a new smart home. So we click on this, and now we want your name, and my name for the purpose is Richard, and then you create a very secure password. I have this created. Now you can find the location of your house with Home Assistant, or you can type your address. You need to make sure you have your address, and then as you select the address, you can either use this here to get the location of your house, so like what I have now, or you can type the address manually. Home Assistant wants to know if you want to share data with them to help the team know what to do best with that. If you don't feel comfortable sharing this, you can leave that unchecked, but if you want to, you can check any of that. Now, Home Assistant will go over your network to see some of the things you have so that it can pull it into Home Assistant. You can see here now, it figured a lot of things out, my TV, my lights, and things like that. And I'll go ahead and hit finish. You see something like this, don't panic. Just Home Assistant already populated these things into itself. So you need to figure out which one is what, and then we'll go from there. If any of these still look intimidating to you, you can book a one-on-one section or go to my Fiverr page and order for me to help you with your Home Assistant installation. All links will be in the description. And so now we want to go ahead and add our Home Assistant that we have running. Please make sure that you are connected to Wi-Fi, and that Wi-Fi is on at least the same VLAN as your Home Assistant instance. And so I'll go ahead and go to connect to my Home Assistant, and then it's going to search. If it does not find it, then you can go ahead and enter it manually. In my case, it found it, so I'll go ahead and tap on the Home 2, which is for the test. And now it's gonna ask you to log into it, and so I'm gonna use the details that I signed up with. So the name was Richard, and then I have a password. So now I am all logged in, and you can change the name as to how this phone would appear in Home Assistant. You can go ahead and name this, let's say, Richard's iPhone. So clear everything, and then you can call it Richard's iPhone, and then I'll go ahead and save it, and then we are all done. Now I'm in my Home Assistant, and even though it says my location is unknown up here, we will go ahead and fix it by assigning that device to me in Home Assistant on the computer. So yeah, now you have Home Assistant on your phone, and then you should be able to like control your lights if you wanted to turn lights on and off. This is the basic dashboard. Down the line, we will build something more effective and something that looks cleaner. We want to verify to make sure the Home Assistant can detect our phone and everything. So we can go ahead and go to Devices and Services, which is under Settings, Devices and Services, and then we want to find Mobile App. And in mobile app, we want to check. Now it knows the percentage from my phone as of 5 minutes ago, and I can see everything here. So we are good to go on that side. The next thing you want to do, let's say if you have other people living in your household, let's say you have a spouse, you have kids, you want to create an account for them and log into this into Home Assistant with their respective details on their phone. So let's, for example, we want to create one for our spouse. You can use your spouse's name just like you used your name. In this case, I'll use spouse, and then I want them to be able to log in with a username and password. So I go ahead and create a password for them, and then I'll go ahead. It says local access only. You don't want them to have that. And if your spouse is not a very technical person and you don't think they'll be able to make automations and things like that, you can go ahead and leave this unchecked. But if you want them to be able to make their own automations and things like that, you can go ahead and check this. So I go ahead and hit create and keep this off, especially if you want them to have access to Home Assistant outside of the house. I'll go ahead and create, and now they can download the app and go through the same process and add their phone, but this time using their username and their password. Lastly, let's say if you wanted to create, you wanted to have a dashboard around the house and you wanted to have some sort of control over that dashboard, don't use your username or don't use your profile. So let's say if you have a phone or a tablet in the house, Home Assistant is always going to think that you're in the house. So you want to create a separate profile for that dashboard. And let's go through that process. It doesn't matter the name you give that dashboard. You can give it whatever name. You can even call it Dash. But I'll go ahead and call mine, let's say Mowgli. And then I would want them to be able to log in with username and password so that it just isn't auto login if someone is on your network. So I'll go ahead and give it a password. For that dashboard, you don't want to make it an administrator, so keep this unchecked. But for security reasons, you want to make sure that this is checked so that your dashboard will only show up when the tablet is in your house and connected to your network. Example, someone breaks into your house and they have access to your tablet. You don't want them to be able to control your network, shut things down on and off. So keep this on and then hit create. Now you can save it and you should be able to log into the dashboard with this credential and then be able to display your dashboard. So now that you have Home Assistant added to your phone, you have the profile for all the people in your household installed and they have their respective dashboards now, you want to be able to have some sort of control, or you want to now add your devices into Home Assistant. If you already have devices that are compatible with Home Assistant via, let's say, Wi-Fi, you are good to go because they will automatically pop up, or you have to just find the integrations for it. But if you don't, then you need to find devices that are very compatible with Home Assistant. And this is a very crucial part of your system because they are devices that will work with Home Assistant over the cloud, right? So let's say you have some sort of vacuum. The vacuum works with Home Assistant, but without internet, it's not going to work. You want to find something that works locally with Home Assistant regardless. So you need some protocols. Obviously, there are some protocols that you can use. When it comes to the smart home, there are protocols. Some of them are Zigbee, which is my favorite. And then we have Wi-Fi, which they are devices that works locally but uses Wi-Fi. And they have Thread, and then they have a new one called Matter. Personally, I use Zigbee. So now let's say you have this light bulb and you want this light bulb to work with Home Assistant. This is not as a Wi-Fi light bulb. So you want to find a way to connect this with Home Assistant. For this to be able to talk with Home Assistant, you need a middleman. You need something that this will say, hey, I'm trying to talk to this person. And here comes something like this, which is a Zigbee dongle. So this Zigbee dongle, this is what it looks like. It's what is gonna receive the signal from this bulb and then send it to Home Assistant. So without this, you can't use this. Alright, so now for us to get the dongle to work with Home Assistant, basically we need to plug this into Home Assistant, into the device that is running your Home Assistant. And then if you are running it on Docker
or on Proxmox, you need to pass through this device to your Home Assistant instance before it will work. But if you're running it on the bare metal, like I suggested earlier, it will automatically detect this without any extra configuration steps.
So to use ZHA, you just basically go to settings, and then you go to devices and services, and then you can add integration, and then you just search for ZHA, which is the Zigbee Home Automation. And if you had that plugged into Home Assistant, you would see something along the lines of Sonoff, and then you just select that one, and then you hit submit.
So now we are in my Home Assistant, my main integration, and we want to be able to add this light into Home Assistant. This is obviously a Zigbee light, and I am using the Zigbee to MQTT. Basically, you want to first put this light in pairing mode, so you turn it on and off until you see it flashing, which I've found about 5 times works. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now it's in pairing mode, and on your screen, in my situation, you just go to permit or join, and then you go underneath, and you can see down here that it just found a new device, and it's gonna add it. Now that it's staying on like this, that means it's being interviewed and it's already added to Home Assistant. So I'll go ahead and click on it, and then I can rename it. And you need to figure out a naming convention for yourself. So let's say this bulb is in the office, right? I normally like to give it the name of the bulb and the place it's gonna be. So I can call this office singlet bulb, and then I want to make sure the Home Assistant reflects this. So I'll go ahead and rename the device to now office singlet bulb is added to Home Assistant. How do I control this? If I go into settings, devices, since it's Zigbee to MQTT, it's going to be under the MQTT protocol. I just want to search for the office, and this will come in handy when you have a lot more devices. So now I know I have the office singlet bulb here, and now I can control the bulb from Home Assistant. So I can increase the brightness and change the color and all that. So after it joins, just give it some moment. Sometimes it will ask you to update the bulb, if like that. So you can go ahead and update the bulb in this case, so that it has the latest like commands and things like that for the bulb. But yeah, that's basically how you add a bulb to Home Assistant. And if you have any other device at all, let's say you wanted to add you have a Samsung TV, you can just go ahead and find Samsung, and then you click on it, and then you have Samsung TV, and you can type the IP address of your Samsung, and then it will send a command to your TV, and then basically it will add to Home Assistant. And so you just look at the things that you have. The first step is you want to search for that. Let's say you have an Akara thing that is not Zigbee. You first want to search for Akara, and then see if it's Matter or Zigbee. You can add it. That will be the right step. And if you can't find it, you can always search for custom integrations for whatever device or whatever thing you had that was not added to Home Assistant. Thank you for watching to this part of the video. I hope you found something helpful. Again, subscribe if you want to see more, and in the future we'll be uploading more content on this series so that we can get you from the newbie all the way to a professional.
Install the Home Assistant Community Store. This is the guide that we are going to follow. It's simple and easy. I will have this in the description so that you can visit it. Basically, there's a URL here that you can just click, and then you have to make sure that this is your Home Assistant IP address. If it doesn't, you can just make sure you edit it, and then you put a right Home Assistant address here, and then you update it, and then you open it. So now it's gonna open this, and you need to install it on the Home Assistant system. Key thing that you need to note as it installs is you need to make sure you have the right Home Assistant version. If you're running it on a mini PC, you have the operating system, the Home Assistant OS. If it's in Docker, you have the container. So you need to follow whichever guide applies to you. So now that I have mine installed, I always want it to start on boot. So I'll go ahead and toggle this on and I'll go ahead and start it. And now that it's started, I want to restart Home Assistant itself so that this takes effect. So I'll go ahead and restart Home Assistant. Now Home Assistant is back up and running, and we need to make sure we actually add it to the Home Assistant itself. So we go back to settings and then we go to devices and services, and then you click on add integration, and then you search for the HACS. So which will be this one, the Home Assistant Community Store. So you click on it and you need to make sure you select all of these if you want to use it. And then basically these are things that other people have created or made that are made to work with Home Assistant, just to make your life a little easier. So they are external components that you can install on that Home Assistant. And if you want to have a good time with Home Assistant, you will need HACS. Now you will need a GitHub account, so you can go ahead and copy this URL and then log into your GitHub account. I'm logged into my GitHub account, and this is the code that we need to verify with. So I can go ahead and copy that, and then let's see. And lastly, it's gonna be 2C51. You go ahead and authorize it, and then you come back to your Home Assistant. Now it's created. I don't add this to any area. You can create a new area and call it system. Basically that's where you store all like system related things. And so you go ahead and now you have the Home Assistant Community Store, and you should be able to install whatever you want. Let's say if you have a Sonos speaker and then you want it to use it locally, you should be able to add this, and then you're good to go. And normally if you have an Alexa media player, so you have a Google Alexa, you should be able to use this and get it working properly. They are very popular ones that you can use. They have the mushroom cards, which you can build cool dashboards with. So you can go ahead and click on it, and how you install it will be used to download it basically, and then it will now pop up after we reload Home Assistant. And we did install the mushroom cart, and I want to make sure that it works. So it's basically for making dashboards. So I'll go ahead and go to dashboards, create a new one from scratch, and I'll hit create, and then I will open that dashboard, and then I just want to search for mushroom. So now you can see those mushroom cards work now. So I can add like a speaker or anything like that. And if you wanted the mute button, the turn on and off and all that jazz, you should be able to do that here. And then you can save it. And now you can basically it's like free radio stations, but you can play the radio stations and things like that on that speaker. But yeah, that's how we get to do that.
Well, thank you for watching to this part of the video. I hope you found something helpful. Again, subscribe if you want to see more, and in the future we'll be uploading more content on this series so that we can get you from the newbie all the way to a professional. Thanks for your time.